I fixed my hormones in 30 days. And I didn't tell anyone while it was happening. Because the kind of power I was building doesn't need witnesses. It needs precision. And if you're still watching right now, it's because some part of you already knows that what I'm about to say isn't about beauty. It's about authority. One morning I woke up, looked at myself in the mirror, and felt something unfamiliar and almost dangerous. My skin looked rested. My eyes were clear. My body felt anchored instead of inflamed. And for the first time in years, I wasn't negotiating with fatigue or craving chaos disguised as chemistry. I didn't suddenly become prettier. I became regulated. And regulation is what makes beauty undeniable. There's a reason ancient philosophers believed harmony was the highest form of order. Because when your internal systems align, the external world responds without resistance. I used to think attraction was about effort, about optimizing angles and outfits and conversations. But effort is loud, and loud is insecure. When my hormones balanced, my energy went quiet, controlled, selective, and that's when men started paying attention in a different way. Not the frantic kind of attention, not the disposable kind, but the kind that lingers, the kind that studies, the kind that feels slightly intimidated and deeply intrigued at the same time. I started getting compliments I hadn't heard before. Not "you're hot," but "you're different." "You feel expensive." "You're intimidating in a good way." And that's when I realized something crucial. Desire follows stability. When your body is no longer in survival mode, your presence stops asking and starts choosing. And if this is already sparking something in you, subscribe now. Because Femphoria is where we talk about the kind of feminine power that doesn't beg to be picked. It makes people wonder if they are worthy. Here's what changed behind the scenes. Because this wasn't magic and it wasn't luck. It was devotion. I stopped treating my body like a machine that existed to produce results and started treating it like an asset that required protection. I slept deeply. I ate with intention. I stopped letting stress be my baseline personality. And slowly, almost quietly, my hormones followed my lead. Cortisol stopped hijacking my moods. My cravings softened. My posture changed without effort. My voice dropped half a tone and somehow became more commanding. Psychology teaches us that humans subconsciously respond to cues of safety and certainty. And a hormonally balanced woman broadcasts both. I watched it happen in real time. Dates shifted. Men slowed down around me. Conversations deepened without me trying to steer them. I wasn't performing femininity. I was inhabiting it. There's a quote by Simone de Beauvoir that says, "Change your life today. Don't gamble on the future. Act now, without delay." And what no one tells women is that acting now often means removing what's draining you, not adding more. When your hormones are balanced, you stop confusing intensity with intimacy. You stop bonding through stress. You stop chasing emotionally unavailable people because your body no longer recognizes chaos as familiar. I didn't become colder. I became clearer. I didn't become unavailable. I became selective. And the wildest part is that once your body feels safe, your standards rise automatically. You don't have to announce them. They are felt. If you're feeling this click into place, comment your biggest takeaway. Because clarity multiplies when it's spoken. And turn on notifications, because this is just the foundation. By the end of those 30 days, I realized something that changed how I see relationships forever. I didn't look too good to be single because of how I looked. I looked too good to be single because of how I carried myself. Singleness stopped feeling like waiting and started feeling like raining. Men didn't approach me with entitlement. They approached with curiosity and caution. And that's always the sign that your energy has shifted from accessible to valuable. When your hormones are regulated, you don't leak desperation through micro behaviors. You don't overtext. You don't overexplain. You don't tolerate mixed signals because your body doesn't have the bandwidth for confusion anymore. That's feminine power in its most refined form. Quiet, grounded, unshakable. I want you to understand this deeply. Fixing your hormones isn't about becoming more desirable. It's about becoming more discerning. And discernment is what makes you magnetic. If this video met you at the right moment, if you feel that subtle inner yes, then let this be the line you don't cross back over. Choose regulation over chaos. Choose self-respect over urgency. Choose alignment over attention. And when you walk into rooms from this place, when you date from this place, when you live from this place, you won't wonder why everything changed. See, I'll know. Tell me in the comments, I needed this, because that tells me you're ready. And remember this one truth long after this video ends. A woman with balanced hormones doesn't chase love. She becomes the standard love has to rise to meet. And let me be clear, this transformation isn't just about catching someone's attention or scrolling through validation. It's about waking up every day and feeling the authority of your own body before anyone else even enters the room. I remember the first morning after day 30, when I stretched and felt my spine fully aligned, my hormones quieted, my energy grounded, and the sensation hit me like an electric current. I am sovereign. The world doesn't dictate my mood anymore. Men don't dictate my self-worth anymore. My body, for the first time in years, felt like a temple, a command center, a throne. And suddenly, I realized all those years of trying to force chemistry, trying to impress, trying to manipulate attention, were wasted energy. It wasn't that I was unattractive, it was that I was misaligned. Broadcasting subtle panic, subtle depletion, subtle neediness that no luxury outfit or Instagram filter could ever disguise. Once my internal systems reset, once my sleep, my cortisol, my blood sugar, my digestion, my hormones all became reliable allies rather than chaotic saboteurs. Everything external adjusted. Doors opened differently. Conversations slowed to match my rhythm. Even men who previously seemed indifferent suddenly mirrored my calm authority, paused before speaking, offered generosity and attention without needing to be prompted. And I realized something philosophical and brutally true. Beauty alone doesn't create desire. Safety, regulation, and sovereignty create desire. It's why queens were always fed well, rested, adorned not for vanity, but because a regulated, healthy body broadcasts power, and power cannot be ignored. I want you to imagine this for yourself. Walking into a room where you feel completely aligned, grounded, aware of your body's energy, and sensing the subtle shift that occurs without saying a word. That's your hormone-fueled authority doing its work. People might describe it as charisma, magnetism, or presence, but it's really just biology meeting confidence, wrapped in self-respect. That's the secret no one ever tells you. You can have every designer piece, every curated profile, every perfectly executed social persona, but if your body is screaming exhaustion, anxiety, or imbalance, none of it matters. And when your body finally stops screaming, you notice men noticing you differently, women noticing you differently, even strangers noticing you differently. Your aura, your energy, your frequency becomes a natural standard everyone else unconsciously adjusts to. If this is resonating, type in the comments, I needed this, because naming your awareness anchors it. And anchors are what allow you to walk fully embodied into your next chapter. Here's what most women miss when they chase attention. The people who value you the most respond to your nervous system. Not your Instagram, not your smile, not your flirtation. Men respond to regulation. Women respond to mastery. And life responds to embodied sovereignty. That's why, during those 30 days, I didn't focus on anyone else. I didn't try to look desirable. I didn't overthink attraction. I focused entirely on myself, me body, my energy, my recovery, my hormones. I tracked my cycles, adjusted my nutrition, prioritized sleep, used movement to strengthen, not punish, my body. I avoided stress that wasn't necessary. I noticed patterns in my cravings, my moods, my tension, and as my internal landscape stabilized, the external world changed in ways that felt almost unfair. Men who previously disappeared after casual conversation suddenly lingered. Men who used to dismiss me without consideration now sought me out with care. I realized that when you heal your body, you stop tolerating mixed signals. You stop giving energy to anyone who doesn't mirror respect, attentiveness, or alignment. You walk into spaces and instantly read the room not intellectually, not verbally, but physically, and adjust your presence accordingly. You don't perform dominance. You embody it. You don't demand attention. You set the standard attention must meet. And the philosophical kicker: the quieter, calmer, more sovereign you become, the more impossible you are to ignore. Presence is addictive. Confidence is magnetic. Regulation is irresistible. That's the lesson I wish I'd learned in my 20s. That's the lesson I'm giving you now. And the most luxurious part: you don't need validation to feel it. You don't need recognition to embody it. You become it, and the world aligns. So, as you watch this, take a deep breath and feel your own energy, your own potential to recalibrate. Because this isn't a suggestion, it's a call to action. Your body is the foundation of your authority. Nourish it, respect it, listen to it, and watch how life shifts around you.